In 1970, in Oahu, up at the rustic retreat on the mountain next to Fort Shafter, with a handsome young army man named Patrick with reddish-brown hair, and a Korean-American young woman named Cho with round eyes. Here we are. We had returned to the mountain camp, and there Cho gave the answers to the puzzles.
In the second case, when the man goes out to the mailbox to see that someone had predicted the number they would pick over the phone, it is that the call was made from the road right near the mailbox, and the letter with the answer quickly put there as soon as the number was known. The first case is more difficult, in which the answer to the number was already contained there with a smaller envelope, which was, of course, completely sealed and opaque, offering no see-through, which means that the number chosen was a true match. This could only happen to a few people, out of perhaps tens of thousands of letters mailed, each handwritten to indicate a very personal touch and interest, although I'm sure that only a general familiarity was intimated, but nothing really specific.
Yes.
The amazement of the receiver has much to do with what we discussed before, that his self is what seems to matter most in the world, this drawing attention away from the possibility that thousands of handwritten letters could have been sent out. Some had to match the number chosen.
Okay.
If this was the beginning of some shady scheme, then only those so amazed by the number prediction would respond, perhaps to some anonymous P.O. box, wishing to know more, and so the perpetrators could thus compile the hits, perhaps then later calling on the phone to add more confirmation through the mailbox trick in case 2.
The first snow of the season had begun just after midnight and stopped before dawn, there being an incident taking place sometime in between. Boot tracks led to the scene from the plowed road across the lawn and then off into the woods, where they suddenly stopped. There was no hearing of any helicopter or anything like that, possibly dropping a rope down to the person whose boot tracks had just stopped. There also being no road, tree, fence, or any way for the person to have otherwise continued without leaving tracks. Nor could the person have retraced by stepping in the boot tracks, or even have walked backwards to begin with, for the tracks were clearly that of a normal walking pace, and had been stepped in only once, but for the last track in the midst of untrodden snow all around, which seemed as if the person had just stood there a while, shifted his feet. How could tracks just end, as if the person had flown away, which he didn't?
This is even much more information than I need. I'm leaving it up to the readers. The old times are still here, deep within the oceans, and those creatures are even more dynamic and useful than those of the lands past, having great antibacterial and antiviral potential. There are miracle toxins from jellyfish, for example, that not only paralyze the prey but even keep it more healthy and fresh.